Hello, everyone. Today is day 37, which is crazy. Today, we are going to be talking about what qualifies as a tip because yesterday, well, the past few days, we've been talking about this $25,000 tip deduction. And the reason I'm spending so much time on this particular topic is because this is the one topic that impacts our industry probably the most. And so I want you to have the most information and the best information about these tips because it can get you in a lot of trouble if you're not doing it the right way. So I want to make sure that you have all of the information because, of course, you could watch like these 30-second reels about, oh, write off all your tips. And then you think that it's just as simple as that when it comes to the IRS, nothing is that simple. They want documentation. They want you to follow certain rules. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. What actually qualifies as a tip? So if you are with me live, put a live in the chat. We have Tara in the chat. She is an enrolled agent here at Hair CEO. And if you have questions while I'm explaining this, put the questions in the chat. And if I'm not able to get to them, she will. So if you're new here and you've never seen me before, my name is Jennifer and I am the founder and CEO of Hair CEO. We are a business advisory, bookkeeping and tax firm specializing helping hair professionals, self-employed hair professionals, and hair and beauty business owners run legitimate, profitable, and bankable businesses because we want to be bankable. We want to get funding and be attractive to banks, right? And so that is what we do at Hair CEO. And so let's talk about these qualified tips. So I have a list of tip types here, and we're going to go through one by one and talk about which ones of them are qualified and then which ones are not qualified so that you can not only file 2025 taxes, but also you want to make sure that you are recording your tips properly going forward 2026, this year, 27, 28, and 29. Is it 28? 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I think it stops in 2028. So you have 4 years to take advantage of this $25,000 tip deduction. So we really want to make sure you are using qualified tips. So the first one I have up here is cash. So you're like, okay, is cash a qualified tip? Yes, that's an easy one. If you are getting paid in cash, then absolutely you can write that off as a tip. However, with all of these, I'm going to continue saying it. I'm going to drill it in so much that it has to be documented. So you can't just you just can't have a service that is, $50 and receive 70 and then not write that down. So I need you, if you're not using a booking app, or if you are, just doing everything by pencil and paper, or maybe you're like, it's all in my head, Jen. I just put the money in my pocket every day. No, you can't do that anymore. So if the service is $50 and you receive 70, then you need to write down somewhere that 50 was cash for the service and then 20 was cash for the tip. Very important there. And then it's going to be qualified. So this one, we're going to put a check mark to say, yes, that's a qualified piece of tip. So now let's talk about crypto. So I know a lot of my barbers and some of my hairstylists, but I find this more with barbers. They are playing around with a lot of crypto. And so they'll have crypto accounts, and then they have clients who maybe introduced them to crypto. And so you'll have some people who provide services in crypto or will say, oh, well, you can tip me in crypto. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but crypto is not a qualified form of tip for this $25,000 tip deduction. So if you want to take advantage of this deduction in 2025 through 2028, then you are not going to want to take crypto as a form of payment for your tip. Now, let's say you want to take the crypto as the service payment. but you would have to make sure that the tip portion is a qualified amount so you can qualify for that tip deduction. So crypto is not going to, hey, Portia, I see you, girl. Hey. So I get sidetracked real fast. Hey, Portia. So crypto, we are going to say crypto is not a qualified tip amount. And then we say, okay, let's talk about credit cards. So are credit cards a qualified form of tips? The answer is yes. So if you have your clients paying you via credit card and they want to put the service and the tip on their credit card, then yes, they can do that. But again, you're going to have to document it. You're going to want to make sure that you have your booking app or even your handwritten somewhere. It has to be a log of some sort. The IRS doesn't say what it has to be. They just say it has to be, right? Not the type of has to be, but it definitely has to be. So you want to make sure that if they're paying via credit card, that you have it documented somewhere how much of that was the service and then how much of that was the tip, so that you can write that tip amount off. Like I say, I'm going to keep coming back to this thing where it's like, is it documented? Because it is really that serious. And just ask Tara in a chat, because she loves resolution, right? I don't. I mean, but she loves working with clients that's gotten into like sticky trouble with the IRS, with audits and things like that. Because at Hair CEO, we offer audit support for all of our tax services. So we make sure we're doing our part, so that in the event that the IRS says, hey, we want to audit you, or we want to ask you some more questions, that we can support you. So Tara loves that part of it. I like the business, the growing, the profit, but I digress because that's my favorite subject. So don't get me started. All right. So credit cards. Yes, we can absolutely have that as a qualified form of tips. So yes, you can do that. Now let's talk about these mobile apps. These, again, very popular in our industry. So you will have Square. I've seen it. People will have Square. They'll have Gloss Genius. They'll have all of these, payment types, and then still offer Venmo, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, and and I'm not judging you. If you do that, then get your money however you want, right? But again, it comes back to, are you documenting? Because yes, the mobile apps are going to be qualified, but again, you have to have the documentation. And so it has to be a log and it has to add up. So in your booking app, if you're showing that, Joe Schmo or Joanne Schmo came in on whatever date and they paid via Cash App or Venmo or, PayPal, whatever, again, you want to make sure it's clearly stated how much was for the service and then how much was for the tip, because it has to tie back. The IRS is going to ask for documentation if you are ever pulled for an audit. And again, we're going to make sure that we ask for this documentation if you work with us for the tax filing season. Now, our clients who work with us during the month, during the year for, monthly bookkeeping and tax and advisory, we're doing that part for them. But let's say you don't want all of that, or you can't afford to get bookkeeping throughout the year and advisory throughout the year. Then when you work with us, or if you work in, you could be doing your taxes on Turbo. Not that I recommend that as a business owner, but if you do, then you still want to make sure that you are dotting all of your I's and still dotting, crossing all of your T's when it comes to these types of qualified tips. So we said that the mobile apps are absolutely a qualified type of tip. So you can do that. Now let's talk about property. And this might seem really obvious. If someone was getting their hair cut or getting their, extensions put in, and they said, "Oh, well, you know what? As a tip, I'm going to give you this car that is no good to me, and it's worth $500. I don't know. It's a beater. Who knows, or whatever it is. But they're going to offer you a car that's just been sitting in their garage or in their driveway, taking up space, and they're like, "Well, just consider it a tip for my hair services." And you're like, "Oh, it's worth $500. Well, then I can write that off as a tip." No, you can't. So if you do want to accept the car as a tip, then by all means accept the car, but don't try to write it off on your taxes as a part of the qualifying tips for the $25,000 tip deduction. So you just want to be careful. I'm not saying don't take the car. I'm saying take the car, just don't write it off on the taxes, because I'm not trying to get you in trouble with the IRS. So we're going to say no to this one. Absolutely not. So now let's talk about non-cash services. And so when I say this, I'm not talking about services that you pay without cash. Like, no, I'm not talking about that. When I talk about non-cash services, I'm talking about bartering. So back to my example earlier about the car. If someone says, well, that's a car. Let's do another example. Let's say, you have a friend, a client that is also a masseuse. And they say, "Well, you know what? If you do my hair, I will give you a hot stone massage next week as a barter, because then we can, exchange services that way. And then that'll be my service fee to you and the tip. Because let's say the hair service is $50, and then a massage with her for hot stones is 75. I wish. That's a great price if it is. But let's say if it was $75 for the massage, then she could say, okay, he or she could say, okay, so the hair service is 50. So count 50 as a service, and then, what did I say? 50, and then, 25 as the tip. You cannot write that off to say it was an in-kind service. So no bartering, no in-kind services that can be written off as a tip. So this one is going to be no as well. So the next one is a gift card. So this one again might surprise you. So if you are performing services, hair services, and someone says, "Well, I'm going to pay you for my services, and then I actually have an Amazon gift card that's worth $25, and I'm going to, send it to you, and that's going to be my tip." It might surprise you, but yes, that is considered a qualified tip if it can be exchanged for money and purchase items. Then yes, it can be claimed as a tip. But again, you have to document. You have to say, on X date, this person, the service was X amount as a tip. They gave me a gift card. You want to make sure that you are documenting that. So yes, gift cards are allowed. So we're going to put a check mark there. That is allowed. Now for my favorite, because I'm seeing this more and more. And actually, I'm not so much seeing this in the hair industry, but I'm seeing it in restaurants where they have these like auto gratuities. And so now I am very careful wherever I go to eat. I was already staring down receipts because that's just the type of person I am. But I'm looking at that receipt to see, is this gratuity already included? Because if it is, I'm only doing extra if the person was extraordinary. But a lot of times they're putting these 20% tips as mandatory as a part of the tip. It'll say that, right? And then on the receipt, it'll say extra tip or additional tip. And so if you have implemented something like that in your barbershop or your hair salon or your suite or whatever, then guess what? It's no longer tax deductible because auto gratuity is not considered voluntary. And so, one of the big things about a tip is that it has to be voluntary, not voluntold. You can't volunteer somebody to tip you and it be tax deductible. So, you have to make sure that if you have these auto gratuities turned on, that you just know that you cannot um, write that off as a part of the $25,000 tip deduction. That's not a part of it. So just be aware of that as well. All right. So this is the list of, let me add my check mark. No, my X there. So you have the full thing. No, can't do that one. So now you have my list of what can be included in tips and what's considered a qualified tip and what's not. And so hopefully this will help you not only for this filing season, but also for the next 4 years where we can use this tax deduction to lower our taxes. So that's it for today. My name is Jen, and I simplify profits and taxes for self-employed hair professionals and hair business owners. And I will see you again tomorrow when we tackle another topic in my series 2026 Tax Talk. And I will see you then.